20 years later, Bill Clinton and the Democratic Party refuse to learn the lessons of the past. Even when confronted with reality, they have a problem processing the truth. During an interview to push his new thriller that he supposedly co-wrote with James Patterson, former President Bill Clinton was asked this by NBC anchor Craig Melvin.
If you were president now, in 2018, with everything that's going on with the Me Too movement, how would you have approached the accusations differently?
Well, I don't think it would be an issue because people would be using the facts instead of the imagined facts. If the facts were the same today, I wouldn't. A lot of the facts have been conveniently omitted to make the story work.
Which facts are those? Maybe this fact?
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Well, actually, he did. He had an affair with that woman, a White House intern, and then perjured himself in a deposition. Now, this all came to light in the sexual harassment case brought against Clinton by Paula Jones.
Statement that there was no sex of any kind, in any manner, shape, or form with President Clinton was an utterly false statement. Is that correct?
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is. Yes.
Is it still ridiculous that he said that? Yes, it is. Oh my gosh, every time I hear that, it's like I still can't believe he said that. Now, the president eventually admitted to the relationship with Lewinsky and called it wrong. And in a recent Vanity Fair piece, Monica Lewinsky herself wrote the following. It constituted a gross abuse of power. He was my boss. He was the most powerful man on the planet. He was 27 years my senior with enough life experience to know better. He was, at the time, at the pinnacle of his career while I was in my first job out of college. When Clinton was confronted with all of this, he got very, very defensive.
I asked if you'd ever apologized, and you said you had.
I have.
You've apologized to her.
I apologize to everybody in the world.
But you didn't apologize to her.
I have not talked to her.
Do you feel like you owe her an apology?
No, I do. I do not. I've never talked to her. But I did say publicly on more than one occasion that I was sorry. That's very different.
Well, Melvin continued to press the president, former president, about a private apology, causing his co-author, James Patterson, to rush in like Alex Cross.
I think this thing it's 20 years ago. Come on, let's talk about JFK. Let's talk about, LBJ. Stop already.
Stop already? Is that the name of one of his new books? Well, some of Harvey Weinstein's crimes took place 20 years ago, did they not? And should we just forgive and forget all of those egregious assaults against women as well? Bill Clinton, red-faced and indignant, refused to give an inch.
I don't think you think President Kennedy should have resigned? Do you believe President Johnson should have resigned? I've tried to do a good job since then with my life and with my work. That's all I have to say to you.
I loved how he tried to turn the tables on the reporter, but Bill, he's the reporter. He doesn't have to answer the questions or reconcile with his public past. You do. Even Clinton's own party at this point seemed just to want him to go away. Okay? This is the ruined past of the party confronting its pathetic present. Because like Clinton, the Democrats refuse to learn the lessons of the past. Despite their previous embrace of sexual predators from Weinstein to Spacey, the Democrats have erected a Me Too movement and created a political infrastructure that they hope will deliver female voters to the polls in November. But Bill Clinton remains a bothersome obstacle to their assuming the moral high ground on sexual harassment. A CNN poll of registered voters in May found that 80% of Democrat voters considers sexual harassment a top issue for them, while only 38% of Republicans feel the same way. The Democrats believe that this is their new wedge issue. Obama and Hillary Clinton, come on, let's remember, they were all about dividing Americans, using race and gender to drive people to the polls. Amazingly, Democrats have embraced that approach today. And while Obama disparaged working-class Americans as bitter people clinging to their guns and religion, Hillary questioned women's sanity for daring to vote for Trump. But the curious thing, beyond the impeachment and his shameful behavior, is that Bill Clinton could actually teach the Democrats a lot. Though, of course, he was a committed globalist on issues like China getting into WTO and NAFTA, he was also a Southern Democrat, and he did understand that blue-collar sensibility, the working people. And remember when Clinton declared this in his re-election year State of the Union?
We know and we have worked to give the American people a smaller, less bureaucratic government in Washington. And we have to give the American people one that lives within its means. The era of big government is over.
Clinton oversaw welfare reform. He collaborated with Republicans to pass a balanced budget, and he signed that Defense of Marriage Act. A lot of people forget that. So this was after the '94 shellacking the Democrats had in that midterm election cycle. Clinton's like, well, I got to work with the Republicans now. That made sense. And even during his wife's campaign, he reportedly confronted her staff about their seeming disinterest in working-class Americans, and he reportedly urged them to reach out to those voters who were feeling ignored. His advice was dismissed, though. Led by Robbie Mook, Hillary's campaign decided to double down on targeting young, Latino, and black voters in their effort to win the presidency. Well, that worked out well. Like Bill Clinton's failure to read the signs of the times and appreciate the lessons of the past, Democrats refuse to acknowledge and respect the voters that Trump has brought into the fold. Should this continue, Clinton and James Patterson may want to reconsider like a new title maybe for their book when it premieres in paperback. The Democratic president is missing, and so are his voters. And that's The Angle.